Oh my gosh, we still have Twinkies from the last episode? Oh my gosh. Garbage. Oh, well, hello and welcome back to Greenlight Cinema. I'm Brandon, and today we're going to talk about the Book of Boba Fett. Oh. All these Twinkies. Endless Twinkies! Oh look, if you're really loyal to Hostess, you can get a snack and shop. Hostess socks, a Hostess hat, and a Hostess shirt. Isn't that wonderful? Gosh. Utter garbage! What was we talking about? The Book of Boba Fett. I didn't want to watch this at first. Like 5 minutes into this episode, I already felt like I needed an an Excedrin migraine. Because it looked and felt like a Star Wars fan film. Maybe that's what they were going for, the score especially. I didn't want to watch this at first. I'll explain. I'm not sure. I'm not a big fan in particularly of the Mandarin, or Mandalorian. I don't know, like season 1 was interesting. I seen him with Baby Yoda, and Luke took off to train Baby Yoda in the ways of a Jedi, and so I don't know much about the Mandalorian, and so my point being is maybe I needed to be a little bit more invested in that show because I know Boba Fett appears, and I seen Jon Favreau was the writer or something on this show, so I was like, oh, there's involvement. And I'm telling you how bad I am at the Mandalorian that I actually forgot what time it's set in. I was like, wait, is this BBY1 or what I mean is this before or after the sequel trilogy? I forgot, but I remember the Mandalorian is like set, 5 years or so after Return of the Jedi? I don't know. The beginning was like super weird. Like, I think it first starts off with Boba Fett being in a back-a-tank, or we see Camino and him as a kid. It was a different shot, I think, added to that. It looked really cool. He was like looking into the helmet, and then he wakes up and he's in a Sarlacc pit with a stormtrooper. And if someone can comment and explain to me why a stormtrooper is in the Sarlacc pit, okay, I don't know much about anything, but I know a pretty decent amount when it comes to Star Wars. And, I've watched Return of the Jedi endlessly, and I don't ever remember there being a stormtrooper at Sarlacc pit monster thing, which I want to get into that. When he climbs out of that, he uses like a flamethrower, but I remember this being kind of like he comes out of the desert sand or whatever, and if this is set 7 to 5 years later, like the whole, like, isn't it weird that like the whole barge is still there? And then to think of like all the people that died, I didn't really take into account until I seen how empty the palace was at Jabba's place. So Luke, Han, R2-D2, C-3PO, Princess Leia, all of them killed 400 to 600 people at Jabba's palace. On the barge, it looked like they had maybe 40 people, like 3 barges, I want to say. I don't know, Luke skipped across too. I love the movies. That's what really brought me to movies. That's why I do reviews, I think. I remember Star Wars being re-released in 1995, and I thought it was the most magical, cool thing ever. And, of course I was my kid's age and younger, and so, the whole magic of Star Wars really wore off with me. I feel like not so much with the prequels, a little bit that lost me, but the whole just movie after, it was like a movie this year, movie that year, you know, and Red Letter Media's touched it better, you know, but it gets exhausting. And this is such a weird world that doesn't feel like you can do too much, because that was what I was noticing with this. It's like you play it a little safe in some of the episode, and it's pretty good, but then you start straying away from like what we know as a Star Wars formula or what we remember, and it's a little weird and often bizarre. Like that, I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but that part where Boba Fett and the fight scenes are just as terrible as the score. It's like, oh gosh, like I've never disliked a music score so bad to a show or movie, but I don't like it. The fight scenes are so cringe. I guess but he's fighting these guys, and they're just like weird assassins on the roof of Mos Eisley, just like attacking Boba Fett and his lady friend, and I don't know. Oh, but before that, while he's in the back of tank, none of this is probably going to track. So you should, if you're interested in this episode, I suggest maybe you cut this off and maybe go back and watch it, and then see if what I'm saying is tracking. But I just want to say, this is probably something I'm only going to watch once. I didn't feel that invested in it. It's so, okay, it looks like Star Wars, like the palace and everything. It's very matte painting-ish, and I thought that was very interesting looking. For the record, this is not a list of complaints. This is just me looking through things, kind of like me looking through the Twinkie box. That's what I feel like Disney is. It's just an endless Twinkie box now of just random assortment of things, almost becoming Netflix. And what I discovered was, you know, thinking about Boba Fett as a character. All right, we start out in Empire. I'm that old. I'm going to start out like that. In the originals, he's just some background character. He's a guy hired from Darth Vader to the Empire to hunt down Han Solo, essentially. Okay, and then he dies in an embarrassing way. Or we thought he dies in an embarrassing way. Whatever, I'm fine with it. He's a background character. I don't understand the appeal of the Mandalorian. I'm not sure what the appeal is about this helmet. This is the way. I don't know any of this. It don't feel like Star Wars. Yes, this looks like a Star Wars, but it doesn't feel like Star Wars. And I'm literally beating a dead horse. Because I know no one cares at this point what I probably think or have to say about Boba Fett. It just felt so weird. He's a character from a movie. He's from Return of the Jedi. I have the original. He's just a guy, like a bounty hunter. I mean, and they're trying to give his character so much depth. He gets, okay. Oh my gosh, my brain's gonna explode over here from thinking about all this nonsense. So he gets out of the Sarlacc pit, and Jawas attack him, and they take all his armor and beat him over the head and just leave him out in the desert. So then sand people come and get him, and then a sand people kid befriends him in a way. I'm skipping ahead quite a bit. There's a Greedo character that's jailed with him, I guess, and the kid, sand person, he's keeping him prisoner with a dog, and they're walking through the desert, and he's like, dig for water, and they're just like, okay, and so Greedo's having all the luck finding the water, and then all of a sudden Boba Fett gets to be a hero and saves the kid from, I guess this was a Rancor. I don't know what the Star Wars creature was. It looked like a Rancor mixed with a crab. Maybe a lobster. It looked like a lobster. Maybe with a Rancor's body. Yeah, I think about Dune and how that's such a lovely departure from the Star Wars universe. That's like so like, what is this? There's a Bib Fortuna man not wearing a shirt, and I know we've seen women in Star Wars wearing bikinis, and I guess I'm old fashioned or whatever, but I'm just like, do they still make every toy for everything? Like, what kid wants the shirtless Bib Fortuna guy? There's like 50 Bib Fortunas. One's like, go see the mayor, Boba Fett. And it's like, wait, there's a mayor to Tatooine? This show's a mess. This show's a little messy. I'm not complaining all the way. This is not a list of complaints. It's just a list of things I take and I noted. Well, so in this weird world of the Book of Boba Fett, he is now Jabba the Hutt, kind of. He's like the king of the castle, Lord of the Manor.
Home. That's right. He's home. Dad's home.
Lord of the Manor.
Hello, hello.
King of the castle.
Hello.
Bubba, Back to the Future reference.
Oh, na, na, na. Put your hands in the air if you're laughing tonight.
Anyway, so we got a Bib Fortuna guys, 2 Gamorrean guards that are just kind of there, that pledge their loyalty or do something to show Boba Fett that they're capable of something. I don't know really why they're there. It's almost like you forget about them. I almost did until I looked down in my notes. I was like, oh wait, there's Gamorrean guards. So they're like in Mos Eisley, like looking around and everything, and I guess surveying everything. Oh, they had to meet the mayor or something. I'm talking about the shirtless Bib Fortuna guy, and I got distracted, I guess, because of his hot bod. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Bib Fortuna slave guy was like, my master's over here, and they talk about something. It was a little boring. I didn't track it very well, so I'm not really sure what happened. This feels like a cheap, weird B-movie, like something you'd see on the Sci-Fi Channel as you're like flipping through. I don't know, like, but it's just like I'm sitting there waiting for something to happen, and I'm just distracted by sand people in black robes, like questioning, like, is this another like breed of sand people? Like, why do we have to spend so much time with these sand people? I guess they're going to come into play later. I don't know. I'm too lazy to find out or watch. But I'm like, like the fight scenes. Like at one point he has to fight like a woman, sand person, and like I know they're trying to build tension to the episode, but I'm like, okay, when's something going to happen? It's like da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. It's like cutting to them, it's like cutting to Boba Fett, cutting to her, cutting to Boba Fett, cutting to her. And then like the fight scene's like so boring. I'm like, oh gosh. I'm like, you have all this you have this big build up of tension and suspense for like, oh, he's easily defeatable without his armor. Oh, it feels like we're in like the weird Middle Ages. I think, like, I don't know if that shuts my brain off or whatever, but I'm not a big fan of things that are like fairy tale Middle Ages type things. And like people probably look at me and like, this guy's probably the biggest nerd gamer guy. I don't know anything about gaming. I don't have any of that. My son, my oldest, teaches me about that, but that's another story for another time, as Miles Kanata would say.
Where'd you get that?
A good question for another time.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to crap on this show too much. I can see that there's merit to it. If you truly love Boba Fett and the Mandalorian and all that, you'll love this, I'm sure. But I've never been much on the appeal of him. Like, I've always thought it was interesting, his whole plot trying to track Han and him just being a cold bounty hunter and just, doing a job. Like, that's fine with me. Going back to the Book of Boba Fett, who is this show really made for? I guess the really hardcore, diehard Star Wars fans, but like, I guess, I am old school. I like the original 3, but, I don't have a whole lot much more to say about this show. I understand what they're trying to do with the character of Boba Fett, the most beloved character ever made from Star Wars. But, you know, I feel like pretty much at this point, my interest in Star Wars is just more or less, who cares? I don't know, like, it's so black and white, and I don't mind it being black and white. It's just heroes are heroes, villains are villains, and that's fine. But, I don't have very much more to say about this Book of Boba Fett. He helps a sand kid, and then it ends. Check it out, or don't. But please like this episode and subscribe to my channel, and thanks guys for watching. Alright, okay, thanks, bye!